Welcome back, my friends. So I went and bought a thing that was a little pricey, the DreamCase from trfightstick.com. This is from the Baharo Bros. Now, I've dealt with a few of their products in the past. I've bought a few of them, the Akora box and a couple others, and I thought they put out very nice products, well put together products to get the best output possible at the time on the Dreamcast. And now they've introduced this DreamCase, which they are touting as the new generation metal shell for the Dreamcast. It's got a lot going for it. I think it looks kind of neat. I know that'll be subjective to some, and it does have a lot going for it. And today, I want to share my thoughts and opinions on this thing after having paid for it, taken it apart, installed everything, and testing it out quite a bit once I had that all accomplished, because this thing was darn expensive. I paid nearly $200 shipped to get this sent to me, and that may seem like a lot of money for a replacement case, and for sure, I agree with that. But at the same time, there's a lot of neat things going on here. So it has metallic silver automotive paint to the shell, which I'm going to talk a little bit more in a moment. Now, don't take this video as a tutorial for installing this thing. I'm just fast forwarding through the process of me putting it together, because there was a lot of steps here. I mean, you had to put in all these standoffs, a bunch of screws. There's a lot of craziness going on here. Now, my Dreamcast is already far away from being an original Dreamcast. It has so many mods going for it. Battery holder mod, which is probably one of the least important things. I mean, or as far as changing it from being a Dreamcast, really. It also has a Noctua fan installed, a power supply mod, the GDMU, and the DC HDMI. Now, this case accommodates all that. This case is not for you to put a Dreamcast in and play your disc-based games. This is for the GDMU. That's what it was designed for. Does it work with the mode? It definitely looks like you can install the mode, but I have not tested that yet. You would have to probably finagle some things around in order to get it in there correctly with the SD card, extender, or however you want to use it. I would probably not buy this for the mode if you are interested. But yeah, I just want to share my thoughts and opinions, and I have a lot of them concerning this after spending this kind of money. So the process of putting it together, it seemed really daunting at first. There's so many damn parts and screws. It comes with a new technology DC 12 volt mini power supply, or at least that's what they're calling it, that you have to install, which that's cool. Okay, we get a new power supply, a bunch of other parts, the USB extender, tons of screws. So you do have to take apart your Dreamcast, obviously. Now, the biggest problem here for me is with all those additional mods in there, like the DC HDMI. I had to be really careful getting that stuff out and being able to mount it back in here. During the process of putting this thing together, I was watching the official tutorial on how to put everything together. I've watched the video multiple times, and there was a few things that didn't exactly line up with what I was looking at, and I had to kind of change the decision on how to put it in myself, right? So in this video, as you're seeing, I've gotten pretty far along getting everything put together. Got the GDMU in there. I did solder in those wires underneath for the game swap button, which will also reset the system back to the GDMU menu if you're in game. So that's definitely a nice little feature to have, especially when this entire thing is going to be closed off. Now, you do have a bunch of wires. Like that soldering part, you really don't have to do that, but why wouldn't you, right? I mean, if you're playing a multi-disc game that requires you to press that button, you might want to do it. Now, I think really the hardest thing for me was getting the damn SD card reader extender in there. Just with the way it was lined up, it was kind of difficult to get it in there. But in reality, after having gone through the whole process of putting this together and getting everything lined up, was there a little bit of frustration? A little bit, more so toward the end of getting the console actually lined up, put back together. Like, things just did not want to seem to fit properly, but eventually I did get it. But it only took me about 30 minutes to do everything, to get everything put together and installed properly and running. So I had to take a few breaks in between dealing with some other things, but as far as my recorded footage, once I deleted all the time where I wasn't doing anything, yeah, it took me about a half hour to do all this. And I think the biggest thing was organizing all the parts, all the little screws and whatnot, and understanding where everything goes, and just studying that before doing this really helped. So yeah, you'll save some time doing that. And here at the end, yeah, I'm like nonstop. Like, how do I get this top shell back on to fit properly? Because nothing was lining up and nothing was in the way. And it's a pain in the butt a little bit. So I eventually did get this all together, and it wasn't as frustrating or as daunting as I originally had thought. Like I said, it was more just being organized and paying attention to where things go. Because there's small screws, there's big screws, there's little standoffs, there's big standoffs. And like I said, one of the issues I had was more so with the DC HDMI, getting that like popped in there properly, because the way they showed it, it wasn't going to work for me. But I got it in there, and I got it in there just fine. So here's a little view of the finished product, and I do want to point a few things out. Yeah, it's got where you could pop in your SD card in the back there. Now, if you were to be able to figure out getting a mode in here, I don't know, man. I would think like the heat dissipation for like if you had a hard drive would be kind of a problem. So you would probably want to leave it with an SD card. So I'm sure you could figure out getting that together and still using some kind of an extender so you could pop in the card from the back. That way you can update firmware and whatnot. Here on the bottom, very nice. You got a little metal placard with your like whatever series number you are, whatever number it was that they bought. Now here I'm pointing out some imperfections which really freaking annoyed me. Right here next to the logo, because this thing is painted. It is all metal except for the front and back, which are plastic, but there's a few scratches I had. The second I opened this up and I looked at it, I was really annoyed. I was like, I paid $200. Some of these scratches may not like be viewable or seen as well through my camera, but in person, it really doesn't look good. It looks like it was used. There's some issues around the front placard there for the controller port or whatever you want to call it. And that really annoyed me for a $200 freaking case. Especially that top where the paint is kind of like, there's like extra paint and it's kind of like bubbled up. I don't know. It's weird. Like, where was the quality control? Because I don't think this happened in transit, because it was packaged very nicely. So that did really annoy me for paying $200 and having a bunch of scuffs and scratches on the paint. They really didn't take care to make sure that they were shipping out, 100% products. Some people may be like, hey, that's nitpicking. I don't care, mofo. I spent the $200 and I expect it to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect it to have scratches in the paint and a bubbled up, like, additional speck of paint next to the logo on the top. That really, like, takes away from it for me. Like, I still like the case. I think it's cool. It's just for the price I paid. I mean, there should have been a little bit more attention there. Did they paint this thing and then just throw it in the box and the paint got messed up? I don't know. Like, my thought was they should have clear coated this. Like, that would have been nice. I may at some point just clear coat it or repaint it, do something else. I mean, if you return this, you got to pay money. You got to pay your own money. I mean, obviously, right? You got to pay probably a buttload of money to ship this back to Turkey. And their policy is it's got to be unopened and not used. So, I mean, if you didn't open it, how would you know that it was messed up? You know what I mean? But I haven't dealt with like talking to them about, hey man, like what's up with this? Like this kind of looks crappy. But now I'm just going on and on about those few little issues because they do bother me. And I'm sure it would bother a lot of people. Some people would just be content with it. But me, nah. I really don't think I could recommend this product here. It's nice. It's neat. It's very cool looking in my opinion. The process of putting it together wasn't too bad, but why? Why does this product need to exist? Now my Dreamcast is no longer a Dreamcast. We've done plastic surgery on this bish, and it's a whole new person. It's a whole new Dreamcast. I think it looks cool, but at the same time, completely unnecessary and very expensive for what the product is. When you start breaking it down, like, okay, you get the power supply replacement from them. What kind of value can you put on that? A lot of these replacement power supplies, some people are hell-bent on saying that they're no good. Other people that I've talked to who have tested them said no, has to do with the external power supply you're using, they're fine. And I feel that, it's okay. But when you really look at the external power supply, or not external, but replacement power supply for Dreamcast, what's the going price? Around $40 or so? So, okay, let's just say we took off $40 to $50 from this for that component. You still are paying like well over $100 for this case. Now, some people could think it's justified. For me, I do not justify my own purchases. Like I won't sit here and be like knowing that I don't like it, but then lie to try to like make myself feel better. I feel like I wasted my money on this product, essentially. The case that I had was perfectly fine. I do find this to be very neat, but just so unnecessary. Like, why did I buy it? I bought it to share this video with you guys, to share my experience. A lot of times I do that, and a lot of times I enjoy the products that I buy, but then sometimes I don't. And I feel like for this, the price I paid, maybe if it was in perfect condition, I wouldn't be so jaded right now. But I just have to be honest, like that annoyed the hell out of me. The scratches, the scuffs, and the little paint speck right on the top, right where you would focus your attention looking at this bish with the glowing light there, right? There's that whole little blob. Looks like somebody painted over a booger on this thing. It is what it is. I'm not going to justify this for myself. I feel like I wasted money on this, but at the same time, I was able to share my experience and show this product to you guys. So it's fine. It's a win and a loss at the same time. But hey, that's what it's all about, sharing my experiences with you guys. You can always expect me to be honest, no matter if a product was sent to me for purpose of review for free or if I paid for it myself. So there you go. Really do appreciate you guys watching and hanging out with me. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and boom. Bye.